The date of the missing children incident is something that has always been a major debate since 2015. We know it was on June 26, and it was in the 1980s, but when was the year? Some people believe that fnaf 4 tells us that this tragedy was in 1983. Others believe that the books tell us that it was in 1985. So when was it? I'm Mr. Pinball, and this is what I've got for you all today. In this video, I want to present the two sides of MCI 83 and MCI 85, and then decide the most logical conclusion. Starting off, every single mention of William Afton killing 5 children in the safe room at Freddy's is said to be in 1985, and the continuity is where the year is mentioned. It's in 1985 in the novel trilogy, and it's in 1985 in Fazbear Frights. Scott Cawthon said that Fazbear Frights was directly connected to the games, and that the books tell us the past while the games look to the future. So it would be natural to believe that the missing children incident must be in 1985, right? Others disagree. Here to present MCI 83's argument, someone that believes the theory, Shadow Libra. Take it away, Libra.
Hey everyone, I am Shadow Libra. Before I begin, I want to say thank you to Pinball for having me on this video. You should all subscribe to him if you haven't. Now, I'm going to try to explain why I believe the missing children's incident occurred in 1983. I believe fnaf 4 hints to the missing children's incident already happening before the minigames. The pigtail girl scares the crying child with a rumor where she explains that they come to life at night, and if you die, they hide your body and never tell anyone. While I can understand people just thinking it could only be rumors, this wouldn't actually be the first time rumors would spread after an incident. In FNAF 2, Phone Guy tells Jeremy to dismiss any rumors that might have been going around lately just after the Save Them incident occurred. Another great example is how FNAF VR exists to disprove the rumors of the past for Fazbear Entertainment. We've been shown that if rumors about something are spreading, they are usually true. Pressure even makes a big deal out of this. As Lucas says, everything Fazbear Entertainment tells us to elaborate on the rumors and legends, they are all true. So Pigtail Girl's line about the rumors describe exactly what the animatronics do in FNAF 1. If they kill you, they hide your body in a suit and never tell anyone. The next reason as to why I believe MCI 83 are the Crying Child's plushies. The only time the Crying Child talks about something that isn't his fears throughout the whole game is when he says, "These are my friends," while he is standing in the center of the plushies of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. Later in the game, we are introduced to a TV show called Fredbear and Friends, which is about Fredbear with Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. There's a lot of evidence the Crying Child is Golden Freddy. If that's true, then him and his plushies show us the entire FNAF 1 gang. The plushies are also important enough to be in the minigame where the Crying Child dies. When most of the plushies are present, the Fredbear plush says, "We are still your friends." But when the Fredbear plush is all that's left, he says, "I will put you back together." Something odd about FNAF 4 is the minigames actually somewhat predict how the night will go. Here's some obvious examples to start with. In the second minigame, Michael jumps the Crying Child in a Foxy mask. Then on night 2, that's when Foxy starts moving. He even makes the same jump scare noise in the closet that Michael made in the minigame. Before night 5, we are given a minigame where the Crying Child is trapped in a room with Fredbear parts, begging to be let out. Then, on night 5, we are only attacked by Nightmare Fredbear for the whole night. Another example is how the minigame before night 6 has the Crying Child being taunted by the 4 bullies in masks of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. They pick him up and carry him to Fredbear's jaw, where the Crying Child ultimately meets his doom. Then, on night 6, we are first attacked by nightmares of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. Then they do a switch at 4 AM, and it's only Nightmare Fredbear for the rest of the night. The reason I bring this up is because in the minigame before night 3, the Crying Child is reminded of what he saw, and in the minigame before night 4, we are introduced to the rumors being spread around. Then, in nights 3 and 4, we are attacked by nightmares of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, which could hint they have something to do with what the Crying Child saw and the rumors. Next is FNAF 3, where the secret minigames are about the Crying Child's memories, as hinted at when the Happiest Day minigame has a similar layout to Fredbear's in FNAF 4. An interesting minigame is Mangle's Quest, where the way to get in is using the code top left, top right, bottom right. If you compare this to Give Gifts, Give Life, where the different animatronics are also in positioning like that, you find the order of the buttons in the FNAF 3 code is the same as the order of the kids' deaths. In Give Gifts, Give Life, Chica is on the top left, Bonnie is on the bottom left, Freddy's on the top right, and Foxy is on the bottom right. There's evidence from Ultimate Custom Night and Help Wanted that this is the order the kids died. This shows the missing children are a part of the crying child's memories. There are multiple instances where the kids have the masks of characters they possess, while the Golden Freddy kid is maskless. First, there's FNAF 2, where Puppet puts masks on all the kids except for Golden Freddy. Then in FNAF 3, before the puppet sets out the cake for the happiest day, the Golden Freddy kid is maskless, while the others have masks of their characters on. In FNAF 4, while the crying child isn't surrounded by the missing children, he is surrounded by the 4 bullies in masks, while he does not have a mask on. In FNAF 4's ending, the crying child still has no mask, while he is surrounded by his 4 plushies in a dark black void. The crying child fades away in this black void, like how Golden Freddy fades away in a black void in Ultimate Custom Night, and how Andrew even fades away in a black void in the Stitch Race Demures. After FNAF 4, the next game was FNAF World. This game gave more hints that the plushies have importance. Even though the crying child is dead, the Fredbear plush talks to him again in a black void, and says, "We are still your friends." The Fredbear plush is still reassuring the crying child that all the plushies are still his friends. This again hints that the plushies are of the missing children, and the Fredbear plush is Charlotte. The Fredbear plush then tells the crying child the happiest day pieces are in place for him and all he has to do is find them. The happiest day is when Charlotte, the crying child, and the other missing children all rest. The ending of FNAF 4 makes sense to be Charlotte comforting the crying child, Golden Freddy, as she promises to put him back together and give him and the other children their happiest day. Scott told us back in 2015, 4 games, 1 story. There were only 4 games at the time, and I definitely believe the line would be changed to something like 13 games, 1 story if he said this now. But the line still tells us that FNAF 1 to 4 are all meant to fall under one consistent story. If MCI 83 were true, then that would make a lot of sense. 4 games, 1 story would probably go something like this. The missing children's incident occurs, and the crying child witnesses it. He is friends with the missing children and Charlotte. Charlotte possesses his Fredbear plush and talks to him, while at the same time, William most likely is using the plush to keep an eye on his son. Eventually, Michael accidentally gets him killed, and Charlotte promises the crying child to put him back together. His spirit becomes Golden Freddy, then Michael works as a security guard in FNAF 1 and also FNAF 2 as Fritz. Then in FNAF 3, the crying child finds the happiest day pieces to free his friends, but also remembers what Michael did to him in the past, so he tortures Michael, giving him the nightmares before resting with all of his friends. More evidence for the crying child seeing the incident is in Michael's logbook. The faded text asks the crying child, "Do you miss them?" on a page where we are asked, who would we miss if we were stuffed in an animatronic? Again, hinting the crying child ended up becoming a witness to the murder of the kids who were stuffed into the animatronic suits. The crying child is also asked if the carousel was his favorite ride. While we only see the carousel in FNAF 2, it likely originated at the first location, since it features a red Foxy and the other characters don't really look like their toy counterparts. One last thing is that the faded text asks the crying child if a song is familiar to him on a page with Bonnie playing a guitar. So long story short, my reasons for believing MCID3 is due to the crying child and why I think he is connected to the missing children. I won't hold this video any longer. Again, thank you for having me on this video. Now back to you, Pinball.
That was a very compelling argument, Libra. I thought a lot of his takes were pretty solid for MCI-83, minus the bite victim being Golden Freddy parts. Right now, I want to try to counter MCI-83 before presenting MCI-85. Before that, I need to try to explain FNAF 4. Scott said there's no random Easter eggs in the game. That's because a lot of the game is foreshadowing with parallels. Now look at the definition of pre-foreshadowing. Foreshadowing when it directly hints at what's going to happen, giving the players a chance to pick up on it. Now look at post-foreshadowing. Foreshadowing where the thing being foreshadowed will not make any sense until after the future event is revealed. Got that? Good. A lot of the things in FNAF 4 are eventually shown to us literally or metaphorically. The FNAF 4 minigames foreshadow the nights, like Libra said. The tiny toy Chica losing its beak is exactly what happens in FNAF 2. The girl that claims animatronics roam around at night and stuff you away where no one can find you is Besides the idea that she's trying to mess with a kid that's crying and is very clearly afraid of animatronics, is exactly what Phone Guy says about them in FNAF 1. Take a listen.
They'll probably try to forcefully stuff you inside a Freddy Fazbear suit. The only parts of you that would likely see the light of day again would be your eyeballs and teeth when they pop out the front of the mask. Yeah, they don't tell you these things when you sign up.
The stage at Fredbear's where Bite Victim dies is the reverse of the area that Bite Victim gets freed in. The broken Funtime Foxy toy in Elizabeth's room foreshadows the fate of the Funtime Foxy animatronic in 1987. The list goes on. Scott foreshadows a lot in his different forms of FNAF media. There's an insane amount of foreshadowing in the trilogy. A lot of people figured out Charlie was a robot in Silver Eyes. It's especially obvious on reread. A lot of the ideas for the foreshadowing in the games inspired Dream Theory, which is wrong. But the idea is still of use regardless. The reason Scott said that no one has solved FNAF 4 is because everyone takes the game too literally. Literally speaking, his plushes are his friends because he's a toddler with very little people friends. But metaphorically, the plushes represent the missing children, Bite Victim's friends, or at least who they will be. It foreshadows who the missing kids become. It foreshadows who the Fredbear plush, Charlotte, is going to free. Bite Victim, and soon his friends. As for, do you miss them? I have two answers for this. Does he miss them at the time of writing, which is a long time after he died? He likely hasn't seen his friends since. That would explain it. If that doesn't satisfy anyone, it's Cassidy asking the question. That doesn't necessarily mean the missing children, then. It could very easily be about his family. Do you miss your family? Mike, Elizabeth, Miss Afton, the other people who would miss. He's literally one of the first people to die in the series. And finally, concerning what he saw on Scott Games, Scott Cawthon posted an image saying, "What is seen in shadows is easily misunderstood in the mind of a child." Which essentially means whatever frightening thing the Bite Victim saw wasn't what he thought it was. He basically saw nothing. Nothing alarming anyway. When Scott wrote the novels, he put the MCI date as 1985. 5 kids, 1 killer. William Afton. When Scott wrote Fazbear Frights, he said that it was directly connected to the games. He also said that the books elaborate on the past, while the games look to the future. We could use details from it and apply it towards the games. This was very helpful throughout most of the books. And what was the very first story in the series about? A boy named Oswald sees a memory of Spring Bonnie killing a group of children that were led into a private room. And the date on the calendar Oswald sees? 1985. How more direct and obvious can you get from that? Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this debate on the missing children incident. What did you guys think? Were any of you convinced on one side? Tell me in the comments. I'm Mr. Pinball, and I will see you all on the flip side.
Creatures are waiting, anticipating, eyes revealing a glow, grinning up at the show.